Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Hearthstone. So we've got 2 quests. We need to win 3 games with Mage, which we'll try that later, and then we need to play 30 Shaman class cards. So I want to look here and look at what our standard Shaman is and our wild Shaman and see how many class cards are actually in here. Standard Shaman will work. Good. So we'll just play standard Shaman. It did not set up the Hearthstone deck tracker last time quite right, and so that wasn't showing the whole recording. I literally clicked cancel instead of OK to reaffirm settings that I'd already reaffirmed because of the way the overlay screen works. It's always been a mess. It's always problematic with OBS. It's problematic. That's a new word. So here's 2 cards we can play here. I have to get all of the Hearthstone recordings done before I can start playing.
The legions I command.
Was it Skyrim Special Edition? Yes. And then it will probably take me 30 minutes at least to get Skyrim Special Edition configured and ready, and that is assuming there's not issues. I have, at least in my own head, attempted to make the argument that it would be nice if I could wait, see if there's any bugs or patches that would come out for the Skyrim Special Edition.
Someday I'll be just like you!
That argument particularly doesn't work on Skyrim in the long game, because even if I start playing now, there's a decent chance I would be done still. I would still be playing, not be done by the time the patch comes out. So that is certainly also a consideration. It's like, well, even if a patch does come out in a week, I'll only be a short way through the game unless I just marathon it. Unless I'm just planning on totally... totally going crazy with this. I was hoping to get the spell damage and then play this, but oh well. This'll work fine. Now, I don't actually have to win in this game. These new quests are certainly interesting in that fact. You don't have to win, you just have to succeed. In the turn. Look at that clear. That's pretty good clear for the 4th turn. So,
Master of Magics.
Very interesting thing is coming out. It's called Savior. It's a game, and it's the first indie game from Cuba. Now, my question about why is it the first indie game from Cuba that I don't know the answer to. Does that mean that there have been corporate games from Cuba and I just am not unaware of them? Or does that mean that since Cuba is a socialist country, has there been government-run video games made by Cuba? I don't really feel like that's the case. In a lot of ways, Cuba is the perfect example of how not to migrate your country to socialism. You can't just one day go from a thriving resort country that is very capitalistic, and one day someone turn around and say, we're going to be socialist now because all the rich people, in a generalization, all the rich people generally left Cuba and fled to Florida, and so all the rich Florida people that are Cuban expatriates, or I don't even know if you call them expatriates as much as you would call them refugees, took all the skilled labor, took all the money, and it left Cuba pretty devastated.
You want to cast a spell? I want to cast a spell.
So, I'm not sure if this is the first video game from Cuba, or just the first indie video game from Cuba, but what it really gets down to is it is definitely an amazing and hopefully appreciated and good voice in so I'd love to see them use their culture, which has been pretty isolated, and tell stories from that. I recently played a pinball game called Shaman that was really just they tried to not make it be an offensive stereotype, but they failed miserably at that. And so, like, it was really bad, really bad, and I could not get around it. I could not just ignore it for the sake of the rest of the review.
My totems! My pretty totems!
So, if this tells a new story, there's also like an African video game out there that tells a new story that's helpful, because I do want to see those old myths. How many fantasy tales are really just the same Hans Christian Andersen style? The Cinderellas, the Hansel and Gretel, the thing. Those are really prevalent in the Western world. But there's tons of stuff like Hawaiian stories and stuff. That's why the new Disney Moana movie should be a very interesting improvement or new tale. Kubo and the Two Strings came out and it didn't get very well advertised, but it's a new tale to tell. And we even get new tales that are made, like Coraline was a new story that was made just from that. And more perspectives, more tales are very much appreciated. I'm tired of seeing zombies. I'm tired of seeing
elements I like. Totems. Elements I like.
The same
Totems
story
I love.
over and over again, for as often as that really happens.
Do not push me!
So, I would also, Cuba is kind of potentially migrating back into capitalism, which, I mean, I think it's going to have to. I think it's going to have to waver back and forth between that, and, because well, a lot of it has to do with the U.S. embargo, certainly.
I am the darkest night.
So it's gonna probably waver back into capitalism. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people from Cuba start to try to make things and video games and stuff like that. But also, I don't know if there's a generation of highly educated video game programmers in Cuba. They have the ability. I don't know if they were given the education or the opportunity. Maybe once they start, if they ever get the education and opportunity, we could see more of them. But Cuba is also a very small island, so we can't expect too much from them. The United States, in comparison, is just huge as far as population and landmass, and we don't get that many video games made from all of that. Let's see, what else do we want to talk about? Uwe Boll is quitting making movies. Uwe Boll is, or is it Uwe? It's U-W-E is how it's spelled, but I always heard it as Uwe. Interesting. Or maybe, well, I'm gonna stick with Uwe. He's famous for making movies like Blood Rain and several other video game licensed. I may be wrong, but I also think Uwe Boll was the one that was found a tax loophole in Germany, where if he makes his movies in Germany and they lose money, the German government will reimburse him that money. And the reason for that was they were trying to, you know, stimulate their economy. And let's see.
One shot.
And I think it probably cost them a lot to do that, but let's see, do I want to do this? No, not really. So I'm just gonna end the turn here. But he's saying he's quitting making movies. Maybe he wasn't the one doing the German tax loophole thing, I'm not sure. The article didn't mention it, but that's what I had always heard. From several sources, I hope. Not the same source over and over again, which tends to happen. There you go. This one.
I'll give it a shot.
This one. And this. Did this. The reason he's quitting making movies, he said, was because they don't make money. That seems silly, because I think he kind of knew that going in, and I think the truth is he had a Kickstarter, and nobody would give him any money to do that, and he's probably invested too much of his own money, which rule one in making movies, never invest your own money.
Did you bring some fish?
That's a line from the producers. Let's see. So he may also be not very popular amongst the movie producing community. He doesn't make good movies. He never really did. The fact that he was getting cheap video game licenses was from a different time. It may also be very well he can't get video game companies to license their properties to him anymore, because we've got things like Assassin's Creed getting made and they're trying to do a real good job with that. It may simply be the case that they're saying, no, we're not going to let you ruin our potential new video game universe, because the expectations may have just been raised.
Glorious redemption.
That very well may be the case. So yeah, Uwe Boll has quit, or is quitting. I wouldn't be surprised if he manages to do one more. I suppose he wants to be magnanimous, and I don't have a tendency to do that. And frankly, it's not a thing to do. I was about to say good luck with him in his future endeavors, but you know what? That's not what a reporter's job is. So I just report the news. I don't give people opinions. So my only interest is that perhaps he'll make more news too that I can report on. Speaking of news and reporting and not being being objective, I have accidentally made a transition here. Something has happened it has come out, something that we kind of already knew. But video game companies are delaying when they give review copies to people, and they're giving a lot less review copies to reviewers. I think in part also this could easily be attributed to the fact that there are just less review copies there. Sites like Kotaku have been blacklisted by, I think, Bethesda. Bethesda in particular has come out directly and said that we're not even going to hide it. We are not going to give out games
I have no time for
to
games.
reviewers in advance, except for 1 day in advance at most. And they are spurred on by the fact that Doom, they did this with Doom, and it was an interesting and weird turn of events because Doom came out and it was a good game.
I have no time for games.
So because it was a good game and nobody really complained on it, so perhaps the video game reviewers should have lied and said Doom was a bad game. But I imagine they were going to do whatever they wanted to do anyways. So
There is a lot at stake.
this is the new future, I suppose. I wanted to play this and I didn't leave myself an opportunity to do that. Darn it.
Your history.
So, yeah. And on top of Bethesda and other review companies, it's not specifically Bethesda, but it's Bethesda right now because Skyrim Special Edition is about to come out, and I bet none of the reviewers have it. And particularly on Skyrim Special Edition, if I had any pull, I would have asked for that 3 months in advance. And this may turn around and prove that Skyrim Special Edition is just not any good. Now, as a YouTuber that doesn't have any real connection to any of those people, it kind of just helps me. But it very much is anti-consumer. It hurts the consumer because now more and more we have to beat that same stupid drum that says don't pre-order. And now we have to beat it louder and say not only don't pre-order, but wait till there's a review. So don't even buy it on the day that it's available is now the new cry, because if there really aren't going to be any legitimate objective reviews out there. Oh, by the way, they're still going to give reviews to the websites that are guaranteed to give their games 80% or higher on Metacritic. They're definitely cherry picking. They've said it specifically. So more and more, it's going to be like, don't believe reviews from this site. The site always gives it. I think in a lot of ways there's some sites out there that if you look at all the reviews and you see that they're not covering any bad games, or they're giving all the games the same 8, 9s, 10s, 7s. If the minimum score they've ever given is a 7, then that should be a red flag. But also it should be a red flag if they just don't cover bad games, because they may very well have played the bad game and just said, well, we're not going to review it. Or if they're doing reviews but they're not giving a score and then they're giving excuses why. Or,
Reporting for duty.
of course, if the entire site says we don't do scores, that's fine, but but it's buyer beware even more. It's always been buyer beware, and we have to just remember that. Speaking kind of a buyer beware, Noct is 1 year in early access, and they just are putting out another update, but they're still early access. They're still not done with that game. For full disclosure, I got a free copy of Noct. I don't know if I got it. I can't remember if I got it just as a random giveaway or if the person that was giving it away was actually the creator of the game. I think it was random giveaway. I'm not sure I've ever gotten a code from creator. I was offered a code after I started already recording. What is that chair game? I keep forgetting the name of it. It's a real easy name to forget. Splinter Cell? No.
Once upon a time.
I cannot, for the life of me, remember the name of this game. Anyways, Chair is a video game company. They made only a few games. The one I covered, they offered me a code through a messaging on my YouTube. I didn't even see it because it was in the YouTube messages, which doesn't show up anywhere or email me or anything. So I didn't even see it until I was already done with recording the entire series, and I never responded. I kind of wonder if I'm ever really going to go down that route. It may very well be that I do. Well, I'm not getting a lot by staying completely unconnected to video game companies. I kind of enjoy that legitimacy of not getting entangled with them. If my YouTube channel ever gets bigger, there's a lot of minefields there. There's a lot of things that could be stepped on as far as just getting too close and cozy with companies. If Bethesda comes up to me and says, we're going to let you have early access to this game, I probably would be very, very tempted to do it. But should I? I probably should. But I'd have to disclose. At the very least, I'm going to do my best to do what I think is right as far as disclosure and what as I understand the law and recommendation of the FTC to be. So, yep. But to talk about Noct, I really like the visuals of Noct from what I remember, but it wasn't really that scary to me, but nothing's ever going to scare me, so that's not a very valid criticism. It certainly was not a finished game. And a year later, it's still not a finished game.
Let me think.
How early do you put a game in early access, really? Is this game ever going to come out in early access? This is really, since my channel started, the first example of a game that's just probably going to be in early access forever.
Face the airs of magic.
I do have that game listed, like, in a special category where if it ever came out of early access, we would be done. I suppose it's not the only example of a game that was in early access. Kerbal Space Program 2 was in early access, and that game certainly wasn't even finished when they said it was finished, by my belief, my opinion. And now the people that made Kerbal Space Program, most of those people have quit or fired, so it's never going to get any better, and they've said they're done with it. So at the very least, Noct is still working on it, but it's buy a game for what it's worth is the lesson here, not what it promises. If you bought Noct on early access a year ago, you're probably not very satisfied with the amount of increase it's done. And there certainly have been other games like that. There are other games certainly that continue on it. What's funny is even Minecraft, in a lot of ways, is still kind of this weird early access thing. It's perfectly playable, and it's just getting features added all the time. It is also kind of never said it's finished. So who knows what Minecraft 2.0 will be compared to Minecraft 1.0. In retrospect, will we be playing a Minecraft 5.0 and saying, wow, boy was
Elements I like.
boy was
Totems I
1.0
love.
really unfinished. That may very well be the case. Let's see, how long have we been going? Almost done this. This will be our last game. Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 and 2.5 Remix are going to PlayStation 4. For all of your Kingdom Hearts fans, have fun playing that over again. I tried to get into Kingdom Hearts myself, but did not succeed. Let's see, do I want to... guess I want to...
There is a lot at stake.
Totally.
Much like Skyrim, Kingdom Hearts is a really long RPG game. It takes a lot of dedication a lot of times, and what really probably I can't answer, and I'd like somebody else to put down in the comments, is the HD 1.5 2.5 remix the perfect remaster to the previous games, or did they edit something or change something in some way that people don't like, and is it better to go back and play the original Kingdom Hearts on PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 2, whichever one they start coming out. They've been coming out for a long time, and the reason it's 1.5 and 2. Whatever is because they are trying really hard here to
Elements I like. Totems I love.
to not have a 3.0. I guess they weren't trying to have a 2.0 either.
Do not push me.
So, what's weird here is we might as well end this recording here. And then I've got another 30 minutes worth of stuff to talk about, but I'm not sure I actually have another 30 minutes to do this. I guess it's worth saying that I probably would never play Kingdom Hearts even if it came to PC. We need 2 more mage victories. That's what we'll do next time. It's probably too long a game and too repetitive a game. Skyrim, in a lot of ways, same game. But I'm going to try to accelerate it in a way I don't feel like you could do in Kingdom Hearts. That's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All of that helps out. If you want to support me further, you can click on my name, Rydo. On the right will be a blue button that says support this channel. Click it, make a donation. And if you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.